According to those close to him, John Lennon harbored a deep sense of jealousy over the wave of commercial triumphs and glowing reviews Paul McCartney received after the Beatles' breakup. The group's split in 1970 was the culmination of years of creative friction, stretching back to the late 1960s and compounded by bitter disputes over the band's business dealings. In the early days, Paul and John had been an unstoppable songwriting force, producing hit after hit in perfect sync. But as the decade wore on, creative disagreements, coupled with Yoko Ono's constant presence in the studio, turned sessions into battlegrounds and widened the rift between the two. The last time they recorded together was for The End on Abbey Road in August 1969. A month later, John dropped the bombshell, privately telling his bandmates he wanted out, comparing it to filing for a divorce. The split was anything but amicable. In December 1970, Paul took the extraordinary step of suing his former friends in the High Court to formally dissolve their partnership, winning the case in March 1971. The move only deepened the animosity. Soon, their feud spilled into their music. Paul's Too Many People took veiled shots at John, while John's How Do You Sleep fired back with lyrics that mocked Paul's biggest hits, from the Beatles' classic Yesterday to his solo debut, Another Day. Eventually, the storm began to clear. By the mid-1970s, John and Paul found their way back to friendlier terms, even jamming together during a 1974 studio session. They nearly reunited again in 1976 after a cheeky $3,000 offer from Saturday Night Live invited the Beatles to perform live, but the moment slipped away. Paul would later look back with relief that he had reconnected with John before his shocking death in 1980, recalling their final meeting as lighthearted and warm, so much so that they ended up chatting about something as simple as baking bread. Yet beneath the reconciliation, Lennon's competitive streak never fully faded. One of his close friends admitted that it was hard for John to watch Paul dominate the 70s with Wings, packing stadiums, topping charts, and even recording a James Bond theme, while John had stepped back from music to raise his young son Sean.